The first and one of the most popular forms of testing is called usability testing. Now, usability testing has two variants or varieties where different situations come into play. One is a monitored usability test, and the other one is an unmonitored usability test. Now, we'll get to the two different varieties in a second, but what is a usability test? Now, I will copy a quick screenshot of Figma's website in particular, to show you how a usability test can be carried out. Now, a usability test starts with certain tasks in mind. So, tasks are a list of activities that a user is asked to do while on the web page. However, in tasks, you must make sure that every task is a goal or has a strong goal in mind. For example, asking a user to sign up to a website or a platform is a task. He might get to the home page, will click on a button, will enter his or her details, then add submit, then even verify their email. Now, in this case, all these steps are a part of that task, but the goal that they had to do was to sign up to the service. In this case, task for say Figma would be to sign up for Figma as a tool. So sign up could be a task for sure. Make sure these tasks are listed out before you even approach a user to test, of course. Another task could be to share the website through email. So if there is an email option or a share option for users, then you might want to test out whether the users are easily able to share this website with others. Task could be to check out prices. It could also be to buy the product. So whatever tasks you are looking for, so whatever problems you have worked on, problem statements, solutions that you've brought in, make sure you also create tasks around those solutions. So if your solution was to bring a smoother checkout experience, then make sure that you ask someone to buy a product from your website so that the checkout experience can be tested. I hope you're getting a gist of it. Rewatch this part if it sounded confusing. It might sound confusing the first time, but you'll get it, in one or two times. Now, these are tasks that we've set up. The UX tester will then ask the user one by one to complete these tasks, often in exchange for a reward. We'll talk about that later. Now, in such a website, if I had to mark a certain website, whether it is usable or not, it must have it must have a clear message. So any part of the website where the testing is being done, if it does not have a clear message, title, label, the the task can get difficult for the user. Another area to look at when looking at usability tests is the CTAs, of course. If the CTA is clear and the user is able to take an action quickly, that means that it is a usable product. Also, a clear hierarchy and navigation of various elements. So, in a way, a good information architecture can also help the user navigate the website or the product easily. And as you can see, the tasks will require some form of navigation at some stage. So, of course, we're looking at good navigation, good hierarchy, good information architecture for the product. Now, to do this task, there are various ways you can do this task. Now, the easiest and the fastest way to do these tasks is to actually call real users. Real users will ensure an unbiased opinion on how your product looks, feels, or works. and there will be no issue, and there will be a one-on-one kind of interaction between you and the users. In a lot of cases, you might want to test it with or within your company. So in this case, you might ask employees from another department, another branch, another part of the company to come and test the product. This could be because of the sensitive nature of the content that you have on your project, or maybe it's a top secret project you don't want anyone to know of. This within the company approach is fast, easy, and free. But in this case, you are losing out on an unbiased approach. That means the users are basically people working in the company. They know about the product, they know about the company very well, and they are well versed with what you are working on. However, real users are the ones who will give you a unbiased, unopinionated, transparent, clear-cut response to your tests. This will allow you to create a product which works for the real world and not just employees within the companies. Now, real users are often expensive and they can be tricky to acquire. This is because a lot of times users are not available to meet in public or even in the office. They might not be ready to do anything without getting paid or some form of compensation. They might not always have the right kind of time that you require from these users. And there can be hundreds of other issues with real users. Now, there's a question that might come up. If there are no users of the company, then what? Then call people who are similar to your target audience. I'm sure you've done UX research by now, so you know that there is a target audience. There is a certain set of personas that you are trying to target. People in a certain demographic. Call such people and ask them to test out such products. There is a third entity, however, which can help you do this. And of course, this is the more talked about topic these days. It's called AI, or artificial intelligence. Yes, AI can actually help you test your products out. I will today show you some, and in the last lesson, we will mainly be talking about such extracurricular activities that a UX designer can do to improve their designs. But artificial intelligence is a newer, modern way of doing testing without even having real humans doing the testing. Don't worry, AI is not taking any jobs here. A lot of times, testers are not even people who are employed by the company, they're just freelancers or just common folk who you just include in the test. So now you have tasks, now you have the people or the AI in this case, and you want to start doing usability tests. First of all, make sure that you have a ready either wireframe or you have a proper prototype in mind. I can't tell you how many times I have gone into a usability test without an actual prototype ready for the user to try out, and it's just caused a lot of chaos and confusion. What I mean by prototype is a design that is almost ready for production, or it has some form of functionality to it. You can ask the developer to quickly make a prototype, or you as a designer can also make a prototype. In the last lesson, we at the end did a bit of prototyping where we navigated from one page to the other, opened one page from a click of a button, etc. So you must make sure that wherever the user is pressing a button, there is some action being taken place. That's all that you need to do. Even a basic prototype will work, but make sure you go in with a basic prototype. Now, how do you even take out results for tests? What do the results look like? The results are just a bunch of notes that you take. These are not results that will blow your mind away or turn into graphs or something. These are plain notes that you are required to take while you are doing the usability test. And how do you take out results? The first result that you can expect is observations. So if you observe the user doing something, having issues with a task, getting confused somewhere in your design, or even clicking the wrong button, whatever is happening live, you must note it down as is. During this exercise, you are trying to provide least amount of assistance. Don't guide the user or hand or hold hands of the user. Allow the user to do as much on their own. Only if the user asks you or faces a major hurdle or issue, assist them. Otherwise, stay away, let them do what they're doing. No bias, no tension, nothing. So observe and just note down all your observations. If the user is clicking on a wrong button, say, oh, user is again and again clicking on the wrong button, and give a few more details about that action taking place. The second result that you can take out is time to complete the task. Now, if you feel the user is taking a lot of time to complete the task, if you feel that the user is facing a lot of issues and that is why the time is increasing, then you must tackle it as a new problem. You must fix it in the future before you can release the product. And as we earlier discussed, errors and mistakes. So, this you can make out when the user is making those errors that there is some issue with the design. Again, don't blame the user for any issues. Blame yourself as a designer for not being able to make a compelling product. And of course, you can ask them some open ended questions either during or towards the end of these tasks. Ask them about how they felt about the design. You can even ask them questions like, did they find it visually appealing? You can even help them understand certain things by comparing it to other competitor products. So if you're Amazon, you can compare yourself to eBay, etc. So you can always compare it to products that people are familiar with, just to give them a little more context. And also ask them a lot of why questions. Make sure that is there. Why is something happening? Why is there an issue with a button? Why are they not able to navigate properly? Why are they taking so long to buy or pick out something? There can be so many reasons you don't know exactly until they tell you.